Hey everyone, this is Aviator with Aviator Games, and today I bring you another tutorial for Gdevelop 5. And actually, I have downloaded Beta 55, and it's actually quite nice and a little bit more stable. So today in this tutorial, I will be showing you how to get your score to follow you from room to room, and also how to load and save those scores. So that being said, let's jump right in. Okay, so like my previous videos, I went ahead and pre-made everything, and I'll go through them and explain what I did and why I did it. So the first thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and create a global variable. Now, if you want to have a variable that moves with you between levels, make it a global variable. Don't use a scene variable. Don't use an object variable. The scene variable, it will only be used in that scene. So we're actually going to be using a combination of both the global and a scene variable. So we go up here to game settings and we choose global variables, and you hit the plus, click to add it in a variable. And as you can see, I named it score and set the value to 0. You press apply, close that up. Okay. Now I have two levels. Let's go ahead and open the level 1. And as you can see, I have 4 objects. I have the next level button. I have the next level text. I have the load save data button. And then I have the score text. Okay. So let's go ahead and see the logic behind it. Close this up. All right. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to create a scene variable. And so the first condition is going to be at the beginning of the scene. Then we come over here and we go ahead and create a scene variable. Now, for those of you who don't know where that is, as soon as you open it, just go ahead and go to the first variable selection, and right underneath the global variables, if you click this, this will open up, and this will give you it'll show you the options for global variables, but we don't want that for right now. So you might look at this and you might think, oh, this is a global variables. Where is the scene variables? But like I just showed you, you have to click the selection to open up to see the global variables, the global variable options. Okay, so they really should rename this and put scene variable in here somewhere to make it a little bit easier for us. So now the only other way you would know, that you would know that this is a scene variable is when you click on it and come up here. It says modify the value of a scene variable. Okay, so we make a scene variable. We set the value. We call it level 1 score. We set it to 0. Press OK. And then we come down here to this next box, or this next block. We don't need any conditions for this one. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to set this level 1 score to, I'm sorry, we're going to set the score text to this level 1 score scene variable. So this is going to do it I believe it's every 60 frames per second. Okay, so now this will update that score on the screen. Okay, now this right here is going to simulate the player doing something to gain points. So let's say your player just killed something, and it's going to you decide to give him 100 points. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do a little cheat. So the first condition is going to be, if you press, we're going to check to see if the space button is pressed, and we're going to trigger this once while it's true. Now, if I don't have this, if when I press the space key button, it's just going to keep on going up, going up, and not stopping until I release that space key. So that's what happened if I didn't have this. Now, with this, I press this once, and it's going to add 100 even though if I have the space bar down, it's only going to do it one time. Okay, so what I did here is we want to modify the value of a scene variable, and I showed you where that was. You go to variables, skip this one, and value of a variable. You select your scene variable. It's level 1 score, and we don't want to set it to. We want to add or multiply or divide, whatever you're trying to do. But in this case, add, and whatever value you want. In this case, is going to be 100. So when I press the space bar, it's going to add 100 to the score. Okay, now let's go ahead and check that out. So these are the first 3 lines. This first one, like I said, we went ahead and create that level 1 score scene variable, and then we wanted to update that text object to show us what that level 1 score is. Right now it equals 0. So if we hit the button, or if we hit the space bar, it adds 100. Okay, so now we want to go to the next level. Okay, so this block handles that logic. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check to see if the cursor or you're touching the next level button. If that's true, we want to come up here and do a sub event. We want to do a sub event for this block. Make sure that you click on this block first, then come up here and hit this 4th button right here. Add a sub event to the selected event. Okay, then we want to check to see if the left mouse button is released. If that's true, then we want to go ahead and set the global score to equal that level 1 score. So let's go ahead and look how that looks. Okay, so we go ahead and go to global variables, value of a global variable. We choose the global variable, which is score. That's what we created earlier. We set it to variable level 1 score. And how do I get this? You go to the expressions, and we want to go to variables. See, now you have the global variable number of children, and scene variables. Now this pops up. Click on here, choose your scene variable, hit done. Now you're going to see that it's showing this little error. It does that. I don't know why, but that will confuse some people. But just go ahead and click somewhere, and it clears up. Now, if it truly was an error, that would stay red. All right, press OK. So now, like I said, we check to see if we were touching the next level button and the left mouse button was released. If that was true, all those were true, then we go ahead and execute these 2 things. The first thing, like I said, we set the global variable to the level 1 score, and then we're going to change that. We're going to change the scene to level 2. So let's go ahead and check that one out too. Okay, so to get here, you want to go to scene, and then this will give you all the options what you can do for scene. And what we want is change the scene. Now this is important. Make sure that you have the quotes, and then you tell it which scene you want. In our case, it's called level 2. I went ahead and pressed yes for this one right here. I believe it always says yes by default. I'm not too sure, but that's what I think. Press OK. So now that's done right there. So let's go ahead and see it in action. Okay, so get a little score, press next, and as you can see, it carried over. Very simple. All right, so now in this scene, we have two more buttons. This is the back button, and this is the save button. Let's go ahead and exit out. We'll come back to this one right here. This is for to load your saved file. Okay, so let's go ahead and open level 2. Close that. All right, so actually no, let me go back. So also what I did, or what you can do, if you know you're gonna be using something or an object between the scenes, what you can go ahead and do is click that object, click the three buttons, and set it as a global object, because every time you create a new scene, it's going to be blank. Now, if you create a global object, it's going to automatically create this object in well, not on the screen, but it's going to have it available for you in that scene. So let's go ahead and see that real quick. So let's go ahead and rename this level 3. Double click it, and as you can see, it brought it over. So you didn't have to click to add the object and do all this again. One of the things, the differences with the Beta 55 is the way you bring objects into the scene. Before, if you clicked on it and then click somewhere in the room, it would add it to the room. But it doesn't do that no more. I thought I broke something, or I did something, and I was trying to figure out, what did I do? But that's how they changed it. So what you do is you click the object, then right click anywhere in the room, and add an instance of score text, or wherever the object is, to the room, and boom, there it is. And I actually like that, because a lot of times what I end up doing, I would actually try to like edit the object, and I would think I had to click it and then come over here, but I would click it like that, and then I would edit the object, and then when I come back, I would click somewhere over here, and then I accidentally added that object. So that was kind of a nuisance. So I'm glad they fixed that. So let's go ahead and close this level 3, because we're not going to use it. Okay. So now a lot of this is going to be similar. So the first thing we want to do is, at the beginning of the scene, we want to once again create another scene variable called level 2 score, and set that to 0. But this time, what we want to do is we want to set the level 2 score to equal that global variable score, and I'm going to show you how to get that once more. So you go to the expressions button, go to variables, right there, global variables, click right here, score, done. And that's how you get that. Okay, and so then we go back to the second block again, and like I said, once again, we leave this condition blank, and we want to set this score text to equal the level 2 score scene scene variable. So it's so after that, we come down to this third block, and once again, well, actually, this one's going to be a little different. Instead of adding to, this is going to, like I said, simulate that the player lost points. So once again, we give it a key. In this case, it's return or enter. We want to trigger once, and then we want to subtract from level 2. We want to subtract 100. Okay. And let's go ahead and see that in action. So let's go back to, let's click on level 1, press play. Let's get some points. Next level, we're at 800. You want to press return, and we're losing points. Okay. Now, Let's go back to level 2. Level 2 events. Okay, so let's now do the back button. Let's explain that real quick. So it's very similar. You should already know how this works. We're checking to see if we're touching the back button and that the left mouse button was released. This is a sub event of this block right here, and then you want to change the scene to level 1. We already did this we already did this for level 1. So now we have the button, and when we click on the button, this is going to take us back to level 1. So let's go ahead and look at that. Click level 2. It's going to, if you click on the level, this is where it's going to start at. If we click at level 1, it's going to, when you hit play, it's going to play from level 1. If you guys didn't know that. All right. So we're in level 2. We click the green button, which is the back button, and it takes us to level 1. Okay, and we're almost done here. Okay, so now we handled the back button. Okay, now let's go ahead and see what to do or how to save that score. All right, so let's open it up. So once again, we're checking to see if we're touching that save score button and if the left mouse button is released. If that's true, we come up here, you find storage. Let's go ahead and close it. So this is how it looks. Nothing's open. You find storage, click on it. And what we want to write a value. So let me explain how this works. Okay, so the first little area, the slot is file. So you want to make sure you have the quotes. If you don't have the quotes, it will not work. So make sure you have the quotes, and you want to name your file. What do you want the file name to be? In this case, I'm gonna do data, or well, typically you can do like save, or whatever wherever you want to name it, options. But in this case, I'm just going to put data or data, wherever how you want to say it. Okay, and then this next line is the group. So the file we save the file. It's called data, and then in that file data, we're going to create a group called score save, or whatever name you want. This just makes it easier to remember what is this. Why did I put a bunch of random numbers? I don't know what that group was for, so I just kept it simple. Score save, and then once again you want to make sure you have the quotes. Okay, so now we just made a group or a section called score save for the data file or data file. Okay, now what do we want this section to hold? What value do we want it to hold? Well, we want it to hold or save the level 2 score. Okay, so how do I get this? You should already know, because I already showed you, but let's go ahead and do it one more time. All right, go ahead and delete this. Okay, so we go back up to variables and go to scene variable. We want the level 2 scores. Now remember, scene variables can only be seen by that current scene. So we can't see that level 1 score, because that's from scene from level 1. So that's why we don't see 2 scene variables. Okay. All right, so now this group is going to contain this value. We hit OK, and that's it. So now let's go ahead and click level 1. Start from the beginning. Press the space bar. Hit next level. Okay, we went from 700. Now let's go ahead and hit return. Let's take it down to 300. Okay, so now game is over. Well, we have to do something, go to work, whatever, use the bathroom. We don't want to lose our progress. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and save this. So click on the button. It saved it. I actually, I actually accidentally clicked on both those buttons. So now if I click this, it should load it. See right there, 300. So let's go ahead and do this again. So let's go to 1,000. I'm gonna do it a little bit slower. Next, okay. Now let's hit enter. 600. Save. Go to back. It resets this to 0 because we didn't tell it to do anything else except for go back to level 1, and it just goes back to its default state when you like if you just first open the game. Now if you want it to automatically load this when you go back to 1 or something like that, then you can do the same exact thing. You can save it, or you can tell it to when you hit that button, you can tell it to load that and then go back to 1. But that's not how we handled it. All right, so we click on the load button, and there we go, 600. So let's check this code out. All right, so now we're on level 1. Go to level 1 events. And so once again, like I said, this is all similar. We're checking to see if we're touching or the cursor is on the load saved data. Okay. Now we want to check to see if the left mouse button is released, and then we do another sub event and we come down here. Let's go ahead and open this. Okay. Now we want to check to see if something exists. So in this case, like I said, we go back down to storage. You want to select existence of a group. Now the first line, you want to type in the name of the file, and our file name was data with the quotes, and then we want to check to see if the group score save exists. Okay, then we press OK. Now, if that's true, now we want to read what's in that slot. All right. So now we're telling it, okay, grab that file data from group score save, and then load it in this scene variable, level 1 score. So it's taking that data that we saved in this file, in this group, and we're loading it to this scene variable. Okay, and you press OK, and that's it. So let's go ahead and check that out. Press play. Go ahead and maximize. Up, 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 up. Next level. And let's take it all the way down to like -500. Okay, save. Let's go ahead and go back. Now load -500. And that's it. So I will be going ahead and trying to finish my next, I believe it was part 5 of my RPG tutorial. That should be coming probably next week sometime. It's a lot of stuff I'm creating, and it's going, like I said, it's just going to take some time. But anyway, this was actually requested. Muhammad, I don't want to screw up your name. I don't want disrespect. But someone requested this, and here's that results. And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, once we hit 100 subscribers, that lucky winner, one lucky winner is going to get a whole year of the premium, or the premium subscription that actually is the indie. So right now I believe I am at like 87 or 88 subscribers. So once again, thank you, and I will go ahead and keep making these tutorials. I'll see you in the next